guest is a hilarious, charismatic, uniquely talented actor and comedian who you've seen on award-winning TV shows and films like Shameless, Veep, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I just had the good fortune of working with him on the short film The Last King. He's my friend and your favorite Iranian dad, Payam Banifaz.
Thank you. Wow. How's everyone doing? Thank you. Thank you for coming. Some of you came from very far.
Hi, buddy.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
So good to see you. I know, it's good.
I love the fit.
Okay, thank you. I feel like a crayon, but
No.
I think it works for me.
It's a great color crayon.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for who likes my outfit. Thank you. Because I FaceTimed my sister this morning because I thought I looked really cute, and she was like, "You look like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air." So
we're about to do a set that's what we call long form improv. We're just gonna get one suggestion, and we're gonna do what we call a mono scene. Think of it as an improvised one act play, basically.
And our team name.
And our team name is
Lentil Kitchen.
So I'm just gonna ask for a suggestion. Just throw out a suggestion of anything at all. Cheese?
Cheese.
Okay, first thing I heard was cheese. Great.
Cheese.
Great.
What to you makes somebody funny? More importantly, am I funny?
Yes, you are funny.
Oh, see how quick
but
that was?
I can't tell you why.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
really don't know what makes people funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you people say, okay, like pain and trauma makes you funny. That still doesn't explain the mechanism of funny. I think funny is a certain type of intelligence. I don't think I've ever met someone that's really funny that's not also really smart.
That's a great point.
I think there is something that there is a certain type of intelligence that specifically funny people have. I think comedy is also timing, and I think timing is something that is inherent in your system. I think it's, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, it's very difficult to teach timing.
His goat cheese log?
What? His goat cheese log? Oh, let me guess. You're trying to say he has a huge dick. I don't care. I've seen him before.
No. Wait,
I've seen big dicks before. They're no big deal.
but not.
It's like having a big finger. Nobody talks about, ooh, my finger is big.
From what I know, you grew up like smack dab in the middle of the Iran-Iraq war in Iran.
Yeah.
And tell me what that was like. What do you remember from that time period? What was that like for you as a child?
It was hard. It was really hard during that time because most of when I was growing up in Iran, most of my memories of the war.
Yeah.
So, and I lived in an area called Ekbatan in Tehran. I remember at some point, basically about 4 times a week, we'd have to go in our cellar in this big apartment complex because the Iraqi planes would go over Tehran and they'd be bombing us.
Yeah.
So that's kind of most of my childhood in Iran that's what I was doing from the time I was about 4 till about almost 8 when I finally left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember, and I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah, that stuff imprints in your brain.
It becomes a part of you.
It does. It's like ingrained in your actual DNA.
I have no right to tell you who you can date and who you can't.
I need a father for my 4 kids.
Yeah, that's another thing I want to talk about. My wife and I were never able to have kids because, unfortunately,
your sperm didn't work.
Didn't work at all.
Yeah.
My doctor was like, I'll never forget the day my doctor looked in my eyes and said, "Look, son, this of yours is going to do nothing for you. You don't know what it feels like when a medical professional looks you in the eye and says, this of yours is worthless."
What was it like for you once you guys actually left? How did you make your way over to California?
We went, my mom, my brother and I, my dad left early and came to the U.S. to kind of like set things up for us. He got a work visa through this company. And then my mom and my brother and I, we basically went to Turkey. From Turkey, we went to the UK, got a green card from the UK, not green card, but got a visa from the UK to come to LA.
Yeah.
And that whole process took about almost 2 years.
And then you guys finally made it over here.
Yeah.
So you want to light my child on fire as a form of punishment?
I would have never allowed your child to light on fire. I would have stopped it immediately. Immediately.
But you would have let him get lit on fire and then put it out?
Immediately.
So you could be the...
If we can role play, let's say you're Chachi.
Okay.
Oh, fire.
Ah! Right, but I could still have a burn.
Don't do it again. Yes, I mean, that's... You know, my father, when I was a bad, my father would do? He'd make me sleep outside with the donkeys.
You said before that you were welcomed more by the Black and brown communities.
Absolutely.
And you felt more supported.
Absolutely.
By them. Explain that to me a little bit, because I felt similarly growing up in America.
Yeah, I grew up in the hood, and just so happened most of the people in my neighborhood were people of color like me, and they just really taught me how to be like an American. They taught me, because it's one thing to know the language, but you got to know the lingo, and they taught me the lingo, they taught me the style, they taught me the culture. Yeah, absolutely, and the culture of LA and the culture of this country. So yeah, they were instrumental in helping me fit in at early on, because they didn't understand where I was from, and a lot of them had never heard of it, because back then there was no internet. It wasn't easy to research things, so they really didn't know about my life or my culture, but they knew that we were all like immigrants, so people just kind of stuck together that way. And if it wasn't for them, it would have probably been, that transition would have been much harder for me.
Yeah, you guys built your old community, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like a lot of, at least a lot of the Iranians I was friends with too on the East Coast, we kind of had a similar upbringing in that we grew up in mostly immigrant neighborhoods. And so it really does, you know, you have some sort of camaraderie. Even though your parents are not from the same country, you still know what it feels like to come here and be the child of immigrants.
Definitely, 100%.
And a lot of things are similar. Like, were you allowed to go to sleepovers or parties and stuff? I wasn't.
Yeah, I was. My parents were never too strict on that. Once I was about, like, I would say like 15 years old, my parents really weren't super strict on where I go, where I came. Probably because also I was like a boy.
I was gonna say it's different for boys too, yeah.
I feel like if I was a girl, they would have treated me differently, unfortunately. I feel like culturally we have a tendency to do that.
Be more strict on the girls.
Much more.
Double standards.
Yeah, or I have much higher expectations from them.
Absolutely.
You know, what does Kyle do for a living?
He owns the gas station across the street from me.
Motherfucker! Are you serious?
Yeah.
I know that Kyle.
Yeah.
I can't stand him.
Were you funny as a kid in school? Were you trying to make people laugh or not?
Yeah. I always loved making people laugh.
Yeah.
I think like humor usually stems from like some type of trauma where like you use humor as a way to, I don't know, ingratiate yourself to people, or use humor as a way to like take the edge off of sort of whatever situation you're in, and I found myself being able to use humor for things like that.
Absolutely. Deflecting sometimes?
Yes.
Self-deprecating?
Yes, certainly not like in a conscious way, because I feel like I was too young to understand that. It was more just, it came natural to me, and I would use it because it seems to, it affects people. And I was always like a class clown, and I just really enjoyed making people laugh. But at the time, again, I had no context of why I felt that way. It was hard for me to connect it to a broader idea or a broader scope of like what I wanted to do with my life. It was more just felt like part of who I am.
Yeah, we're Saudi Arabian.
Right.
You speak Persian?
Well, I mean, I've lived in LA for a long time. And so, I mean, LA, you can't shake a tree without an Iranian person falling out of it, you know?
So what made you go into that and then think, F this shit, I want to be an actor?
I think I always, in the back of my mind, wanted to be a performer. I just didn't really understand that feeling. I just thought everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Like they want to do something else? Or
I felt like everybody wants to be in entertainment.
Oh,
you know, everybody wants to be an entertainer. I felt like it's kind of like flying. Everybody wants to be able to fly.
Yeah.
You know, so it felt like just like a fantasy. I never took it seriously.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't until like I was getting ready to graduate college. I was like, wait, I don't want to fucking do this, because I was supposed to go to law school.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go to law school, so I was all right, political science, and I'll go to law school, and then I'll come out and make money, which is the only thing that's like important, right? You're supposed to just make money in this country.
It's a clear-cut path to like a 6-figure salary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Either that or be a doctor. Again, things that there is a clear-cut path, like you said, to.
Yeah.
So, but then it really wasn't about 2005. I was like, man, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can go one more day without admitting to myself that there is something deep inside of me that wants to be released through this mechanism of performance or like the industry or whatnot.
There's something interesting about that time period in someone's life, because I feel like right when you are facing something more daunting, like law school, same path that I was on, it actually makes you, for me, anxious and nervous enough, and it's a reality check where you're like, no, actually, if I feel this bad going this way, I probably shouldn't do it.
Watch this.
Okay.
Here, kitty. Here, kitty. Come here, kitty. Come here, kitty. Watch this. Come here, kitty.
No! James!
What? You just said do it to prove my love to you. Yeah.
What was it like when you started in Hollywood? Did you have anyone to look up to or inspired by? Or you wanted
inspired
to be like?
by him. I was a lot of people that I was inspired by. Like, you know, I mean, like one of the people that made me want to become an actor is like Robert De Niro. But then, you know, that's almost cliche.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. Those were the cats I grew up watching, and those are the people who I wanted to emulate. When I was coming up, there was no Iranians or Middle Easterns in the industry, so it's like it almost felt like they were. I could identify with them, maybe because Rob De Niro, Al Pacino come from Italian American culture, and there's these similarities between Iranian and Mediterranean cultures in general. It really wasn't until years later that I got into comedy. I wanted to become an actor because I thought like an actor does drama and a comedian does comedy, and I really didn't know at the time that there was no difference theoretically between the two types of acting or performance.
Yeah, and you can do both. Very well.
Thank you. Very nice of you. Thank you. Hold on. Clear.
Do mouth to mouth. Yeah.
Ugh, this cat's mouth tastes like shit.
I don't really want to use the word regret, but anything that you wish you would have done differently during this time period when you were starting out?
Sure. I wish I got into it earlier.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't. because I didn't really start going for the industry. Like I started training as an actor in 2004, but I didn't really start going for it till 2008.
Yeah.
I wish straight out of high school I just said what everyone thinks,
Yeah.
and just went to an acting conservatory and started my life from there. But you know,
I agree with you on that, because I think one thing we lack in our own community a lot of times from our parents is support in the arts. They're okay when we do it in school, but not like in high school, middle school, but not afterward. And I always wonder if I had the chance to go to an acting conservatory or to a school right out of high school, how would things be different? And then I see the younger generation, which they are being more supported, I feel like, by their parents in the arts. Would you have any advice for the younger generation that's getting started out? What would you tell them?
I would tell them to really like do whatever you can to inform yourself on how this business works. That way you could look out for some of the potholes that actors experience in the beginning. I think in this industry, young actors come in bright-eyed, and there's a lot of different avenues for them to get taken advantage of. Everything from acting classes to photographers to casting director workshops. A lot of those things are designed to take advantage of young actors. And then through your experience and knowledge and learning from people who've been there longer than you, you'll understand which type of situations are legitimate and which type of situations are there just to simply take advantage of young actors and their money. So I would tell actors, informing yourself and really, really doing the work. Really doing the work. Not only becoming a good actor, but becoming a good auditioner. Because in this town, it really doesn't matter how good of an actor you are if you can't audition right. Get this idea of the glitz and glam out of your head. This is a very blue-collar business. It's a very blue-collar business. And if you look at it as this glitz and glam, you're going to quit before you get started.
Yeah, because if that's all you're going for.
Right. That's not going to sustain you. The only thing that will sustain you is your passion and your love for the
Yeah.
and if you give a damn about it. You know, ask me the last time her and I made love.
When was the last time you guys made love?
I don't remember. It's been that long. And we used to make love all the time. Morning till night. It's like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I don't need to hear about this.
We would play hamsters.
Yeah.
I'd be the man hamster, she'd be the women hamster, and then we'd wait.
Yeah, you can stop.
Okay.
Thank you.
My point is,
how important is it for you to show Iranians in a positive light, to show our culture to Hollywood, to, you know, through your art on the greater platform that you have?
I mean, for me personally, it's incredibly important. Being in this country pretty much my whole adult life, and then seeing what happened to Middle Easterns in this country post 9/11 and how we were treated, and how it's pretty much the only sort of cultural demographic that it's okay to how do I put it?
Punch down on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only one that it's okay to punch down on. And so I really want people to know that, like, at the very least, representing my own people, like Iranians in this country, we're just regular Americans who happen to have another culture as on top of this American culture that we all collectively share. Mm-hmm. And it's really important for me, for people to see that, like, hey, this is a funny culture of interesting people who appreciate the arts, who appreciate comedy, who have an ancient culture that everybody can learn from and be engaged in. And so, yeah, my goal is to sort of put myself out there, and through myself, hopefully people will be like, oh, cool, Iranians are interesting, or Middle East was interesting, or they're not threatening. Mm-hmm. I want to know more about them. I want to support their work. I want to support their music. I want to support, because there's so many great Iranian artists that are coming up, whether it's in music, whether it's in acting, writing, directing, sculpture. So it's like there's something for everybody in our culture, and my hope is that, like, people get engaged with it, and the stigma of what it is to be Middle Eastern turns from negative to positive.
Yeah, and that, you know, we're just like you. Yep. We're just regular people with a lot of history and culture.
Do you want to be my woman, or do you just want to
eat cheese with you?
Yeah, that's so much less fun than being my woman. But yes, I mean, at this point, I'll do whatever you want. I
want to be your woman. I want you to answer these lightning round questions with the first word or thing that comes to mind.
Deal.
No thinking.
Deal.
All right, ready? Mm-hmm. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Kind, private, hardworking.
Describe yourself in a color.
Black.
What was the last thing you Googled?
Audi. I have a problem with my Audi, so I...
Who doesn't? Ability to talk to animals or speak every language in the world?
Ability to talk to animals, without a doubt.
Last thing that made you laugh really hard.
I saw a video on TikTok of some, like, personal trainer stretching this woman out, and she farted really, really loud. Like, not just like, it was like a... and it was hilarious.
Love that. Do you have stuffed animals in your bedroom?
I do. I have a stuffed pig.
Oh, what sound does a seal make? Fill in the blank. The Islamic Republic is?
Garbage.
Your favorite project to date? that you've been a part of?
I was in a film called Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was very fun to be part of.
Beautiful, and I love seeing you on screen. A character you're tired of playing and never want to play again.
Luckily, I haven't really been typecast a lot by casting. I will say earlier on, a couple of times I played like semi-terrorist role, and I told my agents like, I never want to go out for these again. They were like, we agree.
Yeah. I think every Middle Eastern actor reaches that point in their career where they're like, nah, no more.
Yeah.
What would be the name of your autobiography?
Persian Boy.
Okay. Who has it?
That's what they used to call me in elementary.
Did they?
Yeah.
Persian boy. Very unique. Who has it easier, men or women?
Absolutely, man.
If you could get away with committing a crime, what would it be?
I feel like I would like rob a up bank and give a ton of the money, or like at least 80% of the money I rob to like multiple groups and demographics that need it in the country.
Amazing. Love that. Andy or Kudos?
Andy, without a doubt.
Mortaza or Moeen?
Neither, really. I don't listen to either of the music. What does that play is the thing, right?
No, that's Bijan.
Oh, I guess Moin.
Okay. Nodus or Christmas?
Notice.
Would you go on Love is Blind?
No.
Ideal first date location?
A nice quiet restaurant.
If you were a brand, what would your slogan be?
Yeah.
And lastly, if you could choose one song to play when you walk into a room, what would it be?
Picture Me Rolling by Tupac.
Hey, can you outro us with a little bit of that?
Picture me rolling. Picture me rolling. Oh, picture me rolling.
Big round of applause for Mr. Payam Banifaz. We're Lentil Kitchen. Thanks
Yes,
for coming.
thank you. Give it a one more time for Nas, everybody.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
guys.
Thank you. What a great audience.
That was good.